Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining in, and thanks to each and every single one of you who join us every time to learn to build apps with ToolJet. And welcome to the first demo hour from ToolJet. And this is the time and place where you will learn to build different applications with ToolJet in live. And this time, we will build a minor version of Monday CRM, as you know already, where you can actually feel the functionality. And at the end of this, you should be able to actually build your own CRM that will fit your unique business needs at whatever cost, right? So, and this time we are building this with Bram, the CEO and co-founder at Baserow, using Baserow and ToolJet. So here you go. I welcome Bram to be a part of the show. Hey, Bram.
Thank you for the Hey Tasha, thank you for the introduction. For the ones that don't know me, my name is Bram. I'm the CEO of Baserow. I'm mainly responsible for product development and strategy. My background is in software engineering, and I'm super happy to be here.
All right. So what I could do is I just quickly introduce Sherfin from our side before I actually jump into show the actual end app that we're going to build with Baserow and ToolJet. All right. Here we go. We have Sherfin from ToolJet who would help us build the app.
Hey, thank you, Teja. Hi, everyone. I'm Sherfin Shamsudeen, software architect at ToolJet. I love hacking around and tinkering around with software. ToolJet is all about making that process easy and fast, which is why I'm at ToolJet. And I can't wait to get started with this, Teja.
Awesome. Thank you again for Bram and Sherfin for making this happen. So we are going to go ahead and actually show you the app. But before that, let me tell you what we're going to do today in a particular sense. So I'll quickly begin showing you the actual app, and then Bram will walk us through to actually how to create the database for this app, right? And then he'll also let us know what are the tips and tricks of using Baserow to do it more easier. And then Sherfin will take the play, and he would be building the actual app and the functionality in the front end using ToolJet. So there you go. Without any more delay, I'm going to show you the actual app, how we're going to go ahead and do this just like this. So we're going to have basic CRM that actually mimics a bit functionality of the Monday CRM because given the time constraint of an hour, we are going to build this up to a level that what we could do to the maximum in terms of functionality first. So we're going to have a dashboard that shows us contacts and customers and the life cycle stages of your contacts, which you can call them as leads. So basically this is going to be like a sales CRM. So this CRM can be for your salespeople, where they can actually add contacts or customers and then track their how they can actually become your customer, right? So this, you can add multiple things into your dashboard, and Sherfin will walk you through how did he add his things so that you could learn to use multiple other components that they can turn to a analytics dashboard view. So you will also have a customers table where you can able to see the customers of your product and their plans and the period. You can additionally add a field that shows the deal size or the potential amount or MRR or ARR that you're making on a specific customer. So you can add more details, but given the time constraint, we'll only walk you through the limited features that you can learn and build your own. So, and the other thing is the contacts. So where you could add your own contacts or leads and then make them into different what we call that life cycle stages of your specific contact. So it can be interested, won or lost, anything. And then you have a thing to move to customers. You can use this action, and you can also make a WhatsApp message right from here, right? And the other additional features of ToolJet tables that you have here, you can search it or filter or download, and you can have it add contact, right? So maybe this is all we're gonna go do it, and we're gonna get this done in this demo hour, fully building with the help of Bram and Sherfin. So, are you ready? So
Yeah.
Bram and Sherfin. So I'm gonna hop it over to Bram for now. So Bram will guide us how we can actually configure the database behind this part. So, and the best part is we are not gonna code anything. We're not gonna set up your servers or databases or anything. Baserow will help us do it just like on the flow. Thank you, Bram. Over to you again.
Cool. Thank you, Tesha. So yeah, as Tesha already explained in this demo, we're going to build a CRM system from scratch using Baserow and ToolJet. We're going to use Baserow as a backend database. And this means that Baserow will mainly be used for storing the data instead of working directly in it. So I'm going to share my screen here. Cool. Can you add my screen, Tesha, to the video feed? Perfect. So here I'm on the dashboard page of Baserow. I have already created a group called ToolJet CRM Demo. A group is basically like a workspace where you can create multiple databases in. You can invite users to it. And yeah, this is currently the dashboard page where you see an overview of all your groups and databases. So we're going to create our CRM database directly in the in this group. So I'm just going to call it CRM here. And yeah, in a CRM, it's very common to store your leads and contacts in it. Exactly what Tasha just showed you in the end result. So this is exactly what we're going to do with Baserow to start with. So I'm going to create a first table called contacts, and the contacts table is basically going to store our leads. And in this case, we want to store like the full name of the user. We want to store their email address. Luckily, we have like a dedicated email address field in Baserow. So I'm going to use that one directly. We want to have like a phone number field as well, because it's useful to be able to call your contact. So I'm going to create a phone number field. What we also want to store is like a life cycle stage. And the life cycle stage is basically an indication of what kind of status this contact is in. So I'm going to call this life cycle stage. And we're going to use a single select field here. This basically results in a drop down when you want to enter the sell value. And we're going to have like 4 different states here. So we're going to have interested. You can go, let me copy this over. We have like negotiating, and a deal could be won or a deal could be lost. So I want to add some appropriate colors here to indicate the state a little bit better, like this. So what we also want to have is like an expected deal size. So this is like the expected amount or cost that or revenue that you expect to generate when the deal is closed. So this is going to be like a numeric field type where the decimal places are 2, which is always what you use when we're talking about money. So we're going to call this expected deal size. We're not going to allow negative numbers. So what you could add here, for example, is you could add my name, my email address, my phone number. This is not actually my phone number, of course. And you could say what kind of stage this contact is in. So you could say, oh, this Bram is interested in this case. And Bram, maybe we expect to generate 10 euros in revenue. So what we also want to do is we want to have some plans or products that we want to sell. And because we want to be able to use those plans in different tables, I'm going to create another table, which is called plans. I'm going to delete these fields here. I'm going to do another number field with 2 decimals. I'm going to call this this price. So we could have like a pro plan, for example, or we could have like an enterprise plan where the pro plan costs 10 euros in this case for our demo, and the enterprise plan costs like 100 euros or dollars or whatever. And so what we want to do here is we want to create a relationship to the other table, to the plans table. Just so that we can choose the same plan for every contact. So if we ever make a change in the pricing, for example, we don't have to change the price everywhere in every table. We just have to do it in one place. So I'm going to call this one plan. And here you could, for example, choose like the pro plan, for example. So maybe Bram, in this case, as a contact, was interested in the pro plan. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add some dummy data that I have collected here. So I'm going to copy this from my notes and directly paste this in here so that we have this this data. Somehow the plan data was not copied over properly, but I'm just going to choose some random values here. Doesn't matter that much for the demo. Cool. So what we have like a contacts which store like lead information. We have our plans, but what we might also want to store is like the actual customers. So because the customers table is going to look very similar compared to the contacts table, I'm going to use the duplicate functionality to make a duplication of that table. I'm going to rename this and call it customers. Move this one up. And in our customers table, we kind of want to store slightly different data, but it's a bit similar. We're not going to need the lifecycle stage, for example, and the expected deal size, but we do want to have like the name field, the email address field, the phone number field, the plan, and maybe we also want to store what the frequency, what the period is of when these customers are actually paying. So for this, we're going to use another single select field. I'm going to call this monthly and yearly. I'm going to make yearly green because that's best for our cash flow. Also, I'm going to call this period. And maybe we could say like monthly, yearly. Yeah, just for our demo purposes, it doesn't matter that much. We select some data here. Cool. So yeah, we now have like a basic structure. We have all the data that we need to actually build our demo. So we have like the contacts table that contains our leads. We have like the customers table that contains our actual paying customers, and we have a plans table that contains all the products that we offer. And yeah, for demo purposes, I also want to share a link with you guys because it's also possible to publicly share data. I don't think it's very common to actually share customer data publicly, but just for you to take a look at the data if you want in your own browser, I'm going to create a link here that's going to be publicly shared. I'm quickly going to share this in the chat with Tasha so that he can share it with you in the live chat. But you can actually follow this link, and it's like a read-only view of the data for you to see how it actually looks in your own browser. Cool. So the next thing that we need to do is like build an interface on top of our database, of course, and this is going to be done in ToolJet. So Sherfin is going to handle that part, and what I'm going to do first is I'm going to invite Sherfin directly to this database by inviting him to this group. So I'm going to Sherfin at tooljet.io as a member, going to send them an invite. And what this will actually do is this will automatically send an email to Sherfin from where he can immediately accept the invitation. After he accepts the invitation, he also has access to this data. And after that, he will have access to the group. And then we can collaborate on this data in real time. And yeah, for Sherfin to know exactly how it all works, how to connect it with ToolJet, he needs to know what the API documentation is, right? So in order to get that information, you could click on the three dots next to the database name. You could click on View API Docs. And what you basically see is like an auto-generated API documentation page of your whole database that you created. So I've clicked here on the contacts table, for example, and here you'll see an overview of all the fields that we have. So we have like the name field, the email address field, the phone number field, all the fields that we just created. And you also have different endpoints. So you have endpoints where you can list all the fields of this table, or you have an endpoint where you can list all the rows in this table, or you have an endpoint where you can create a new row, for example. And a small tip for you, Sherfin, is if you're later gonna use like the single select field via API, you need to communicate the values as IDs. It's not yet possible in Baserow to communicate the value with its name. Instead, you need to use the ID instead of the name. Yeah. So that's what you need later on. Yeah, cool. So I guess I would. This is basically like the Baserow part, and then Sherfin will take it. Will take it from here. So I was curious if there are any questions so far about Baserow. Of course, after we've built the demo, it's possible. It's possible to ask more questions, of course, about everything. But if there's something specific top of mind about the Baserow database part, then I would love to hear about it right now. We cannot hear you, Tertia, I think, or at least
Oh
I
yes.
cannot hear
So
you.
as moving on, we would be able to find more questions that you could get. So I'll also let you know when it comes. So possibly, maybe we could shift it over to Sherfin, talking more about how he can use the Baserow database that you have created now and actually connect to ToolJet and perform multiple functionalities and also create a dashboard of customers and also the contacts table and present it. Right?
I see that there's one question, Tesha, from
Yeah.
Andre. He asks if Baserow can handle workflow logic. So yeah, basically not. Like Baserow currently only functions as a database, and you have like webhooks, for example, and APIs to communicate directly with that data. So you can really easily connect it with tools like Zapier, N8N, Pipedream, or any other workflow automation tool. But it's not possible to directly do that in Baserow. This is something that we want to work on in the far future, where there will be a form of workflow automation. But this is not something that's possible right now because we're fully focusing on the database part.
Got it.
Cool. Yeah. If there aren't any other questions, I think we should move forward to Sherfin and the ToolJet demo.
There you go. We have Sherfin here. Do you have any words for Sherfin?
Hey, Teja. Thank you, Bram, for constructing out this database. Um, so I'm seeing a question. Oh, sorry, went away. Can you repeat that question? Really interested in how to build this starting from an HTML, CSS page. Okay, so that is not part of this demo. I'll just go ahead and share my screen. So I believe I'm looking at the table that Bram just constructed for me. I have a customers table, a contacts table, and a plans table that Bram has constructed. So I'll need to this Baserow account to my ToolJet application. For that, I'll fetch the API key from here. So if you can see my screen, this is a basic, simple skeletal application that I have prepared for this demo. So I haven't dropped any widgets, but I have constructed 7 queries. Like I have pre-built 7 queries by default. The reason why I have come prepared with this is that if you look at the tables, uh, to construct all the functionality that we need, we'll need several queries. Like we'll need a query to fetch all the customers. We'll need a query to fetch all the contacts, to fetch all the plans. And if you look at the life cycle stage column that Bram has constructed, it is a single field column, which means the data that I get from the data that ToolJet gets from Baserow will be in a nested format. So in order to deal with that, I'll have to fetch all the details of the columns, and I'll also have to fetch all the details of the customers columns. So for all that, and also to add more customers and add more contacts, we'll need another queries. So for all that, to construct those entire set of queries in this live session will be 2 verbose. So I've constructed the queries already. What I'll try to do right now is attempt and connect these queries to the tables that Bram just constructed right now. So I'll go ahead and try to re-authenticate with the API token for which Bram has just invited me. Yes, so I'll try to list out the contacts table. So this is the ID that I have, but obviously because Bram has constructed a new table, it'll have a different ID. So I'll just copy that ID and paste it here. And I'll try to preview the data. Oh, okay. Apparently, I'm not able to, I'm not sure if I have access to that table. Bram, could you help me out here?
Yeah, sure, Finn. Okay, let me check here. This is the contacts table. The contacts table is supposed to have table ID 99090. The customers table, that's the 99092. So there might be something going wrong on that part.
Okay. Oh, it's still the same, Bram. So I'm getting a 401 unauthorized. So I think this is happening because I don't have access to this particular CRM database. So the database that I'm accessing is called CRM. I'm
Can
not
you go
sure.
to your authentication tokens in your settings?
Sure.
Okay, so this token is connected to the demo group that we used during our dry run yesterday. So can you create a new token here, and then select the correct group that we're currently working in? Yeah, so I think it's the last one probably.
Okay.
Yeah, that one exactly.
So let me try out with this new token. Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
So thank you. So I have all the customer data that Bram has just built out for me. So I'll just save that. So if you observe this transformation, as I mentioned, the life cycle stage column is a single select column, and the target plan column is is linked to another table. So both of these data is being sent to ToolJet as nested data. I'll have to flatten it out in this manner. So that is what this transformation does. So I'll just save this query, and I'll also make sure that this query is run on page load. So whenever the application is loaded, we have that data ready. Let's also try to fetch all the customers' data. I'll just copy the table ID. I'll just paste it here. I have all the data in here. Perfect. Here also I have a similar transformation. This is just to flatten it out. So if anyone is curious about what exactly this code does, you can check it out when you get the JSON that app export JSON that Teja will share after this session. So I'll save this query also, and I'll also make it run whenever the application is loaded. So yeah, so with these two queries, let's just go ahead and try to build some stuff. I'll drop in a tabs widget. So the tabs widget will allow multiple pages. I'll just delete all these default widgets that comes with tab widget. I already have a default table widget, but because I need it, I'm not deleting it. Uh, yeah, so we'll have to name the tab titles of these tabs columns, tab widget. So the first tab will be dashboard. The second will be customers. The third will be contacts. Here we go. Now I'll try to fill out the data from the contacts table from Baserow. So all I do is just call that query in here. Okay, we don't have any data because we haven't run that query. We only previewed it. So once I run it, I have my table populated. But obviously, as you can see, the columns are not auto-configured. That is a feature that is yet to come in ToolJet. So I'll have to supply the names of the columns exactly as Bram has provided it. So I've supplied the name and all my names are filled out. I'll supply the proper column name for email address, and I have all my email addresses. Let me go ahead and check the rest of the columns. So that is phone number, lifecycle stage, expected deal size, and plan. So this one will be phone number, lifecycle stage, expected deal size. Also, I have a plan in here. Oh, okay. Something went wrong, as something always does. So I'm loading this contacts query here. I believe it's because I'm trying to obtain a column called target plan, but it is actually named plan. So I'll just rename it to plan and see what happens. Yes, I do have the plan right now. So I'll just save it and reload the application. Yep, nothing went wrong this time. And we have the plan data here as well. So we have successfully filled out the contacts table. Let's go ahead and also fill out a customers table so that we have both sets of data available in here. I'll add in a table and I have to resize it a bit. And in a very similar manner, we'll just supply the data of the customer's query in here. Yes, this works. We'll supply the proper naming. So I also have to add phone number, plan, and period. So this one will be phone number. Will be plan again. Last one will be period. We have our entire customers data filled out here in this table, and we have our entire contacts data filled out here in this table. So now obviously we need to construct a dashboard. We are not constructing a load of visualizations and statistics. So this is just a basic functionality of a CRM. So I'll just add 2 pieces of statistics. I'll also drop in a chart so that it looks more like a dashboard. I'll go with bar chart here. Yep. So these are all dummy data. We need to supply proper data for this to work, for this to be functional. So let's go ahead and call this the number of contacts that we have. And I'll fetch this data from the contacts query itself. So I have my entire data set here. So I'll just call the length of that. So you can see that I have 8 contacts, and I'll just hide the secondary value so that it's more proper. And this will be the customer statistic. I'll repeat the same logic in here, customers dot length. And now I have the number of customers in here. So this visualization can be a bit more complicated. So what we can do is the life cycle stage. So So we can use this visualization to show how many contacts are there in each of the life cycle stages that we have. So we have some contacts in one, some in interested, etc. We'll just count it. Uh, for that visualization to work, I'll need to supply the data in this format. So it's a JavaScript array of objects, each object having a key X and Y. X represents the X coordinate and Y represents the Y value. So let's go ahead and try to construct that data from our contacts data. So this is the contacts data that we have. This is also an array of objects. I'll have to count each object by the life cycle stage property. So for that, I'll make use of Lodash. Lodash provides an excellent function called count by. I'll just pass in that data, and I'll pass in the key with which I need to aggregate it. Life cycle stage. Okay. Let's see. So as you can see, it has properly counted each life cycle stage for me. It's also showing undefined because I believe some of the queries, some of the contacts might not have filled out life cycle stage, which is why there is an undefined in there. So I'll just convert this into entries. We have entries, and I'll just map it out to X and Y objects. First key needs to be X, and it should have the value of 1 negotiating, etc. And the second key should be Y, and it should have the value of each of the counts. So we have the proper charting data available in here, and we have properly constructed a visualization for lifecycle stages. So let me just see if I can remove these records with undefined lifecycle stage, or perhaps not. Let's skip that for the time being. Okay, so we have a data filled out, and we have a few visualizations and statistics. So next will be about adding contacts, and also be about moving contacts to customers section. So Teja, do I have more time to show all that?
Yeah, Sherfin, you can. Yeah, we can go for it. So we can specifically skip a few things in the query part because as you have already covered, but we hope you could able to show it the queries and how we can do this and make it faster as possible. But we are on good time.
Sure, thank you. Okay, so let's just go ahead and add a button here and call it add contact. I'll drop in a model here. I'll also call it add contact. Whenever the user clicks on the button, I'll show that model. And inside that model, I'll need a couple of text input widgets. So this will be for the contact name. This one will be for contact email address, phone number, targeted deal size, I believe. Obviously, I'll also need a drop down for the life cycle stage. I apologize for the aesthetics. I'll have to construct it quickly, so I'll not care about the aesthetics for the time being. I'll also need another drop-down to set for the user to select the targeted plan also. Finally, I'll need a button to add this contact to our contacts table. And I'll call it create contact. Right. So this one drop-down will have to give us a set of options to select the life cycle stage. So In order to select all the, in order to fetch the details of all the life cycle stages, I have a query here called contacts fields, and I'll need to get the table ID of contacts table. I'll use it here. And we have all the column details of contacts table. I need the life cycle stage column, which is this one, and I have all the options in here. So it's interested, negotiating, etc. So the first key is 252.802, and it goes up to I believe 252.805. So I'll just hard code it here for the time being. Oops. And these will be called interested, negotiating, won, and lost. Okay. Oh, let me go ahead and just reload the application. That should fix it. I have screwed it up somehow. Oh, okay. Apparently, I've added the add contact button into customers tab. That was not great. Yeah. So I have the life cycle uh, life cycle stage drop down in here. I'll also have to fill out the plans in here. So I believe the IDs for plans are 1 and 2, and the plans are Pro and Enterprise. Yes. So we also have a query here called plans, which will fetch us this data, but I believe these are the correct data as of now. Obviously, I'll need to fetch this button from here and put it in the contacts session itself. Yeah. Yes, so I have a form to fetch all the details that are needed to add a contact. Let's try to get all these values inside the query that we have built for adding a contact, which is in here. So I'll first fetch the table of contacts, table ID of contacts table, which is this. So as you can see, these are just dummy data based on my own name and email. So instead of my name, I'll have to fetch that from this text input one.
Hey, Sherfin, I have a quick comment because the target plan was accidentally named to plan here when you add the contact. So this should be named plan instead of target plan. Yeah,
Here,
exactly.
right? Perfect, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for
Perfect.
that.
That was it.
Okay. So I'll get my email address from this second text input two. I'll get my phone number from text input 3, I hope. Life cycle stage from drop down 1. If you look at the preview, you can see that life cycle stage has been filled out and has been taken from drop down, and the ID has been filled out for me. Expected deal size, I'll have to take it from text input 4, of course. And the plan, I'll have to take it from drop down 2. Yep, we have it. So because it's enterprise, the plan ID is 2. So yeah. So this one is apparently name. This one will be sorry, yeah, this one will be email. This one will be number. This one expected deal size, I believe. So the moment I click on this button, I need that add contact query to be run. And once that query is run, I need this model to close. And once the model is closed, I also need to run the contacts query again so that the table updates the data. I'll also just link the loading state of this button to add contacts its loading state, so that when we click on it, we have a loading animation. So let me just type out some names here. Sorry for all the Starbucks references. I don't know what else to do. Yeah. So I ran the query, and do I have the new data? Yes, I have the new data in here. It's connected to the proper life cycle stage and plan also. So if we go and check in Baserow also, we can see that it has been connected to that exact ID of the life cycle stage and also the plan. Yep. Yep. So we have successfully implemented the add contact feature. We'll also go ahead. The next feature that we'll need is a button in each of these rows to move this contact to the customers table. So I'll just go ahead and action button here. I'll call it move to customers. Yeah, we have a button here. And on clicking that button, I need the add customer query to be run. Once the add customer query is run, I need the tabs to switch this tabs widget to switch to the customers page. So I'll set the tab to page number 1, which is the second tab. And once the tab switches, I need that customers query to be run again so that that table also will be updated. Okay, so let's go ahead and also construct this add customer query. Going back to Baserow again, that's the ID. So here I'm using the create row operation. Here also I'm having a lot of dummy data. So this time, instead of getting this data from any model form or anything like that, I'm just fetching that data from whichever row that I've clicked in here. So if I may just show you this feature, we have something called selected row. So the row which I clicked on will be available as selected row. So I can use this exposed variable to fill in the data in here. So name will be table1 dot selected row dot name. You can see that the name has been filled out for me. Similarly, I'll fetch email address. Fetch phone number. Deal size is not a part of this table, so we'll remove it. If we look at the customers table in here, we also have a plan and a period. So we'll perhaps try to just fetch the plan itself the target plan, whatever target plan data center contacts itself. No, so I'll have to fetch the ID of corresponding ID of this plan. So what I'm going to do right now, we'll just skip that part also. So for this demo, we'll just fill up these details for this feature, and in the app that Teja will share, you'll have the full feature with an extra modal, an extra form that will allow you to select which plan that customer has chosen, what kind of period that customer has chosen. For now, we'll just add the name, email number, and phone number. Okay, so let me go ahead and try to add this contact named Asoka. I've clicked on the button. I've moved the customers section, and you can see that that customer has been added here. Apparently, the plan and period has not been added. That's because I haven't implemented it. So that will be fully implemented in the app that Teja will share. There is one more feature I could show you, which is send to WhatsApp. Teja, do we have time?
Yeah, Sherfin. So we can quickly do that and then jump onto the Q&A. Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So I'll just, this is very simple. I'll add a button called WhatsApp. And whenever someone clicks on that button, I'll just open a web page. The URL is from my good friend Mithun here. Yeah. So for this phone number, I'll just fill it from the selected row of the table. And the message can be something like, hello, name of that whichever row that has been selected. So let me just go ahead and try if it works. Okay, apparently the phone number and the WhatsApp API opened, but we don't have the phone number and name. Let me just quickly debug that. Oh, oops. This was supposedly table 1, and I was supplying table 2 here. So as you can see in the preview, it works right now. So I should be able to access it here. Yes. So here the proper phone number is here, and the custom text that I've supplied here is also there. So we can just use this function to send messages to WhatsApp. We can actually basically just run this in a preview mode also, which reflects all the data that we have supplied in here. And yeah, that's it. That concludes. You have your basic functionality built. This is definitely not on par with enterprise CRMs out there, but you could use this to custom build any kind of CRM that you would like. Yeah, that's all from me, Teja.
Exactly. So as we are also going to share the app with them, can you also show us how they could import that and see this app by himself? So if they have a JSON of this app, so
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I believe this is the app. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and export this application. Yeah. So I have this application. I have this file here with me, basic CRM skeleton export. So this is a simple JSON file. You can even edit it. Uh, to import this application, all you need to do is click on this button, click import, and select that file that we'll be will be exporting and will be tweeting out. Once you click on it, ToolJet will load this application for you.
So I think that's pretty much the way that you click on import and you choose the file that you want to import and then get it to go.
Yes, yes, exactly. I believe there is some delay in the cloud for imports at the moment, but it'll definitely work when you try it out.
I see that basic skeleton CRM. Oh, they are the other ones. Got it. Okay.
Yes, yes, perfect. You'll also need to supply an API token from Baserow. So whatever data that Bram shares, you can construct tables in Baserow in that manner. You'll probably be able to reconstruct from the data, is what I feel, and just get your API token in here and save it, and then all these queries should work. You'll also need to supply the new table IDs that you construct. These IDs are unique to me and my account. Sorry, the unique to the tables that Brand is constructed. So when you replicate those tables, you'll need to supply new IDs also. Other than that, everything is the same.
Awesome. All right. So thank you for doing this, Sherfin. So possibly if you happen to miss any part here, don't worry about that. We will be sharing the JSON file and also the app file. You should be able to find that in the description. So after some time. So that you could be able to import that. By any chance, if you happen to miss the query part or in the JavaScript transformation, don't worry about that. You will have that happening in the JSON once you import that. So we'll just quickly jump into the Q&A. We'll just wait for we'll invite Bram. So we have the panel, and then let's take any questions that we can address at this point of time. So I think Sherfin has one to actually a request.
Okay. Support 3P as creation of queries using MySQL, please. Creation of query. Oh, okay. So, but this session is dedicated to Baserow database data integration. So so this question can be directed in the general channel in ToolJet, and we'll answer it there.
Totally. So I request everyone to drop your questions in the chat.
I have a question for you, Sherfin. Like, is it also possible to add like validation to the form, for example, that you created, like the create contact form? Is it also possible to add some validation to those text fields or to the form itself?
Yes, absolutely. So those widgets already come with validation settings on the inspector. So you can even supply regex or minimum and maximum values, and validation is built in with it.
Cool, interesting.
So Tom was also asking these questions while we are in the demo. So if a contact becomes a customer, can the contact record automatically be deleted and the relevant data, moved to the customer table?
Absolutely, absolutely. So what we have done right now is that whenever the contact became a customer, we are adding that to the customers table, but I did not delete it from the contacts table. So what we can do is use the delete row API that Baserow provides, and we can just remove it from that contacts table. We could also use a separate column called moved or something in the Baserow table, and maybe just use the update operation also.
Totally. So we have one from Rajat. Uh,
When you change the IDs of the table, other components, do all the IDs that were supplied in the queries get auto updated, or do we have to go and change them ourselves? Yes, we'll have to. So all the queries, they don't dynamically get updated. We'll have to change it. So the queries don't react to changing component names. Bram, I'm kind of curious if validations are supported in Baserow at the moment.
Yes, on the specific field types, the validation is supported there. So if you choose an email field type, you can only provide real email addresses. Same as with like a phone number field, for example. So there's definitely validation there. It's also possible to create forms and expose those publicly in Baserow, and then there's also the same validation is available there. So it depends on the field type, but it's not configurable per field type. So it's only one field type has one specific set of validation rules.
Got it. Got it.
So Tom has another question. So can clicking the email be triggering opening the mail app?
Um, if we could use some mail tooling, so hyperlinks can be mail to also. So if we could use that, that might be possible. I'll have to get back to him on that. We can also use some integration like send grid to send emails. So that might be possible. I'll have to confirm it. I'll have to get back on that.
Yeah, totally. So on email click, maybe they can use other integrations what ToolJet has, or they can use the REST API feature if they're using any other third-party APIs to perform this email action. They can actually integrate that with the REST API and then perform the action. Totally. All right. So we are curious if you have further questions. So what are the plans for Baserow, Bram? What we have ahead?
Well, we're actually just finishing like our long term or our short term roadmap actually that was on the website. So short term, we're gonna get like enterprise functionality like role based access control, single sign on, features like that. They're very important. After that, we're gonna brainstorm internally about what's gonna be next. We have a lot of community requests, so we're definitely going to prioritize those. But yeah, on the short term, it's a bit difficult to say now. We're kind of at the stage where we're going to make like a new roadmap for at least the next 6 months. Um, so yeah, enterprise features short term and longer term, of course, like it's our goal to become an open source no code tool chain. So they're not just the database part, but also a very simple form of application of no code application building and simple forms of workflow automation. We want to include. We think that that's going to be very powerful,
Yeah, I
but
got
it's
it. And
like
also,
very long term.
true, yeah, we are excited for that. And also, when you look at the integration that ToolJet has with Baserow, there is some more we can even add some of the features in terms of the API that you have shown in. So we can add a couple of fields more, like how Sherfin added the table ID field. There can be a couple of others. So improvements are going on. So we also add that to the roadmap for furthermore. And we have another question here. Is it possible to perform live calculations as well, like number of days between two dates, or change the field in the form? New to toolchair.
Oh yes, oh yes. So any value that we supply as properties of widgets are live, are reactive. So if a value, for example, the value of a text widget is derived from two date picker widgets, whenever you change the value date on the date picker widget, this derived text widget's value will also get reflected based on that. It's completely reactive.
Yeah, and it's also something you can do with Baserow. We have like a formula field where you can calculate the differences of days between two date fields. So you could do it in ToolJet and in Baserow.
Of course. So I was about to ask you whether it's possible to, like, are you planning to in future supply some sort of live streaming of data? So whenever data is updated in Baserow, I need that to be updated in ToolJet also. So some sort of socket streaming or something like that is possible or not?
Yeah, so we have real-time collaboration implemented in Baserow itself. So if you have multiple users working on the same table, you make a change in a cell, you immediately see that the others immediately see that as well. So this API is open basically. So we have some documentation about that on our website, although it might not be suitable for to integrate directly with ToolJet. But we also have webhooks functionality, right? So you could create a webhook. I'm not sure what's possible in ToolJet, but you can definitely trigger refreshes if a new row is updated or added or deleted or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we would
Awesome.
possibly need more event listeners either. So including the webhooks. So maybe we could try that out even.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
and a nice thing would be to have a date field for next contact and getting an alert on the day. Yeah, so that can be added. So maybe you can, it's possibly be explored with the toolset. With what Sherfin had shown, this is kind of, and also Bram has presented how you can create databases. So this whole intention is also to show you what you can do with this combination, and also what are the possible things that you can learn, so that you can build your own kind of a unique CRM that actually fits your needs, right? So it is doable, and the thing is, we just need to explore a bit more. And we also have a documentation. You can Google it out, tooljet documentation, or just go to tooljet.com, click on the docs. And for the base row either, there is a lot that you can actually figure that out by yourself and then make it happening more cleaner, right? Awesome. We are on time, and thank you for making it on time, Shelfin, and also Bram. So possibly, if I get any further questions, we look forward for that. And also, as everyone who registered for this, you will also find an email looking forward for how was the session and stuff. So feel free to reply for that. It helps us to improve either. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll keep forwarding. I mean, we'll look forward for what's ahead. And also, we always from tooljet side, at the end of every month, the last Wednesday, you could expect us to do a community call where it's more specific to tooljet and its features and releases and all the updates and news and all that stuff. And also, we would also take the opportunity to educate us a little bit about the tooljet features and new functionalities and all of that. So you can find everything at the Luma page, lu.ma/tooljet. You can find all the past events or future events, or everything that we do in terms of engagement with our community, right? So look forward for that, and don't miss our community call in the next couple of days. So that should be always ready. And I hope you won't see Sherfin again, because he has been coming up further and further for the last two community calls. Let's hope. I wish we could have them again. All right. So we would also look forward to have furthermore demo hours in coming months, and in touch with other uh, softwares or other tools that we can already always collaborate with and build amazing things, as how we just did. So I'm so thankful for Bram and Olga for doing this, and thank you so much for Bram for joining us and doing it for us, and we are so grateful for that.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me, Tasha and Shervin. I learned a lot about ToolChat, and I'm looking forward to the next live stream. Maybe we can do another demo sometime.
I loved constructing app with Baserow also. So much easier than any other SQL database I've tried. Great work.
Cool, awesome. Glad to hear that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for everyone for joining and listening to us. And I hope you had tried it out live. But we'll take care of it. We'll give the database as what Bram shared us with us. I'll put that links into the description, and also the actual app of this, which is live. I can share that into the description either, and also the actual JSON file that you can import to your Tooljet account, and then start using this, so you don't miss any queries or a JS transformation that you have seen just now. So not to worry, everything in hand. Look forward for the description to be updated, and you should be good to go. Thank you so much for once again. Thank you so much for joining again, and we will look forward to see you in the next community call or next demo hour with another context. See you again.